The ocean does not remember wealth, rank, or promises. It remembers weight, cold, and silence. Titanic begins as a monument to human confidence, then reveals the price of believing engineering has defeated nature. James Cameron turns catastrophe into romance, technological spectacle, and an enormous financial gamble. Released in 1997, the film follows Rose, a young woman trapped by class expectations, and Jack, a poor artist who wins passage aboard the supposedly unsinkable liner. Their romance develops while the audience knows the ship is moving toward an iceberg, creating a powerful emotional clock. With a production budget of roughly $200 million, this was a high-risk industrial project involving giant sets, deep-sea photography, visual effects, costumes, water engineering, and studio financing. Every creative choice carried investor pressure around the world. The achievement is balance. The film sells spectacle without losing intimacy, history without becoming a lecture, and tragedy without becoming emotionally empty. Its business model depended on audiences caring about two fictional people deeply enough to experience a famous disaster as though it were happening for the first time. The first half works like carefully managed research and development. Before disaster begins, Cameron builds the ship, its social system, and its emotional rules. We learn where people may go, what they may wear, whom they may love, and how money controls movement through every deck and every social boundary. Jack and Rose meet because both seek escape. Jack wants opportunity. Rose wants ownership of her life. Their early scenes act like product testing. Conversation, drawing, dancing, humor, and quiet observation gradually confirm that the audience believes their connection. The pacing seems patient, but it produces strong returns later. The staircase, dining rooms, boiler areas, decks, and corridors are introduced before becoming dangerous. Every location has two functions, first as wonder, then as threat, so setup becomes future suspense. Cal and Rose's mother represent the economics of control. Marriage becomes a merger designed to protect family status. Jack is disruptive competition, offering no wealth but a different value proposition, freedom. By the midpoint, the audience has invested in that promise, making the coming disaster personal rather than merely historical. The second half converts preparation into payoff. Once the iceberg is struck, details established earlier begin producing narrative value. Locked gates, class divisions, lifeboat rules, narrow corridors, and the ship's scale are no longer background. They become engines of suspense with immediate human consequences. Cameron manages escalation efficiently. Danger begins through vibrations, ice, and technical conversations. Then water enters the lower decks, authority fractures, and disbelief becomes panic. People do not react immediately, they react when their personal model of safety collapses and denial becomes impossible. Jack and Rose keep moving, giving the audience a human route through a huge event. Their journey connects suites, third-class passages, engine spaces, decks, and freezing water. The romance becomes the interface through which we process a historical system failure without losing emotional focus while maintaining clarity during the expanding chaos. The ending succeeds because the film has strong emotional product-market fit. Romance delivers devotion, spectacle delivers destruction, and history delivers recognizable events. Jack's death completes Rose's transformation. His value survives through the life she chooses, turning unbearable loss into lasting emotional return. Rose's psychology is shaped by learned helplessness. She has wealth around her but little agency within her. Her engagement promises security while removing choice. Her despair comes from being treated as an asset in someone else's financial rescue plan, not as an independent person. Jack has high risk tolerance. He gambles, travels without stability, and decides quickly. Yet his emotional intelligence is strong. He notices Rose's distress, listens without judgment, and gives her a new way to interpret her life. He offers possibility rather than possessions or social approval. Cal shows the psychology of ownership. He confuses love with control because he measures value through possession. When Rose resists, he increases pressure, surveillance, and punishment. He behaves like a failing executive protecting authority instead of solving the real emotional problem. During the sinking, leadership becomes visible. Some deny reality, some preserve dignity, some exploit confusion, and others accept responsibility. Under pressure, social masks become expensive. The film's behavioral lesson is that crisis rarely creates character. It reveals the incentives, fears, loyalties, and values already present under extreme survival pressure. Financially, the production looked dangerous. A budget of roughly $200 million made it one of the most expensive films of its era. Theatrical revenue is not profit. Cinemas keep a share, marketing needs capital, distribution adds cost, and financing increases exposure. The investment thesis depended on scale. A long running time reduced daily screenings, but the film compensated through repeat viewing, international appeal, soundtrack sales, home video, television licensing, and re-releases. Its worldwide theatrical gross eventually exceeded $2.2 billion across multiple release cycles. A box office-to-budget comparison suggests an exceptional multiple, but studio accounting is complex. Break-even requires recovering production, advertising, distribution, financing, and participation costs. Even so, the film became intellectual property earning money across decades rather than one release window or one format for studios and partners. Its greatest asset was emotional durability. Spectacle attracts the first audience, but memory attracts the next generation. Romance, music, tragedy, and historical curiosity kept the product culturally active. The strongest ROI arrived because technology created attention while human emotion created repeat consumption and long-term licensing value. The technology impresses because it rarely asks the audience to admire technology directly. Digital artists combined computer-generated water, set extensions, digital passengers, models, miniatures, motion control, and full-scale construction. Together, these methods created a ship that felt physically coherent and continuously inhabited. Cameron also filmed the real wreck during deep ocean dives. Those images give the modern framing story documentary weight. The transition from the decayed wreck to the living ship connects archaeological evidence with cinematic reconstruction, memory, and imagination. Large practical sets allowed actors to touch railings, climb staircases, run through corridors, and react to real water. Digital tools expanded the scale beyond what could safely be built. This hybrid workflow offers a technology lesson. Each tool handles what it performs best while supporting the others. This invisible integration is why the illusion remains persuasive today. Editing keeps the effects emotionally readable. Wide shots establish geography, medium shots show action, and close-ups return us to fear. Visual complexity never destroys comprehension. The achievement is information management, guiding viewers through a massive simulation without losing the characters at its center. Behind the romance was a management challenge involving schedules, safety, construction, water tanks, costumes, effects vendors, night shoots, weather, and thousands of coordinated tasks. In such a project, time becomes capital. Every delay affects labor, equipment, stages, insurance, and post-production deadlines. The project required precision across departments speaking different professional languages. Designers protected historical detail. Engineers focused on physical behavior. Actors focused on emotion. Editors and effects teams protected continuity. Management had to combine these priorities into one releasable, commercially coherent product. The studios also faced concentration risk. When enormous capital is committed to one film, cancellation becomes expensive, yet continuing requires further investment. This resembles infrastructure finance, where sunk cost, future potential, market confidence, and reputation must be evaluated together. The result shows why hierarchy is insufficient. Complex production needs shared standards, rapid problem-solving, and a clear creative direction. Every department must understand both its task and emotional purpose. Ship, costume, lighting, water, and sound support one promise: make the audience believe, then make belief emotionally costly. Without disciplined coordination, creative ambition would quickly become uncontrolled financial waste. Historically, the film is unusually committed to physical detail. Interiors, social customs, lifeboat procedures, wireless messages, and real passengers enter the fictional story. The collision, flooding, loss of power, breakup, and final plunge broadly reflect the best understanding available during production. The real disaster killed roughly 1,500 people after the liner struck an iceberg in April 1912. Lifeboat capacity was inadequate, and several boats departed without being full. The film interprets those facts through class, confusion, tradition, delayed response, and institutional overconfidence. Some scenes use dramatic license. Jack and Rose are fictional, the diamond is invented, and individual actions cannot always be confirmed. Later scientific analysis also suggested that the final breakup and stern movement may not have happened exactly as shown on screen. Yet accuracy is not only a checklist of objects. It also communicates vulnerability. The film shows how regulation can lag behind technology, prestige can discourage doubt, and unequal access can affect survival. Research supports emotion rather than replacing it, creating lived history around an imagined romance. That ethical seriousness strengthens the film's educational value. Russell Carpenter's cinematography gives the film two visual identities. The present-day wreck is cold, dark, metallic, and enclosed. The 1912 voyage is warmer, brighter, and filled with movement. This contrast makes the past feel alive before the story gradually drains that warmth away. Composition communicates class. First-class spaces are symmetrical, polished, spacious, and controlled. Third-class scenes use closer framing, energetic movement, and crowded depth. The camera does not simply display economic difference. It makes viewers feel different levels of freedom, access, and social pressure. The camera turns design into a psychological map, showing who feels powerful, who feels trapped, and who is allowed to move aboard. The bow sequence succeeds through visual engineering. Open sky, moving water, balanced bodies, and expanding music create possibility. Later, steep angles, collapsing lines, crowded frames, and unstable horizons transform the same architecture into danger. Lighting during the sinking preserves faces while suggesting darkness, cold, and failing electricity. Literal realism might make action unreadable, so cinematography chooses emotional clarity. Golden interiors become blue-black water, creating a visual movement from human warmth toward indifferent nature. James Horner's score is the film's emotional navigation system. Recurring themes connect freedom, memory, grief, love, and the ocean. Music becomes emotional branding. A few notes can reactivate the entire story inside the listener's mind many years later. Vocal textures create distance and longing, while orchestral power supports scale. During intimate scenes, music makes private emotion feel timeless. During catastrophe, percussion, brass, strings, and low frequencies increase urgency without overwhelming dialogue or obscuring human fear. Sound design gives the ship physical credibility. We hear engines, metal stress, rushing water, breaking wood, distant cries, footsteps, and moments of near silence. These layers convert visual effects into something the body can almost feel. Sound creates weight where images might appear artificial. It helped the story cross borders without losing emotional meaning. The popular song extended the product beyond cinemas and became a separate marketing engine. It carried the emotional identity onto radio, albums, television, and public performance. The score improved the film while the song reminded audiences to return, forming a feedback loop between music revenue, cultural visibility, and theatrical demand. The marketing challenge was unusual. The film was expensive, long, historical, tragic, and difficult to reduce to one genre. The solution was segmentation without fragmentation. Advertising sold romance, spectacle, prestige, and historical scale to different audiences while preserving one recognizable emotional identity. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet gave the campaign recognizable human faces. Posters placed the couple above the ship, explaining the product in seconds. Intimate love positioned over enormous danger. The image promised emotion and scale without revealing the full experience or final tragedy. Word of mouth became the most valuable channel. Viewers did not only say the effects were impressive, they described how strongly the story made them feel. Emotional recommendation reduced uncertainty for later customers, supported repeat attendance, and turned viewing into a shared cultural event for many years after release. In modern analytics language, the campaign achieved broad reach, strong conversion, and remarkable retention. Trailers created awareness, the song increased frequency, awards added prestige, and discussion extended the life cycle. Great marketing identifies the clearest promise inside a product, then repeats it across every useful platform. Critical response recognized the scale, craft, and emotional power, although some reviewers found the dialogue simple or the romance conventional. That simplicity may explain part of its global success. Emotional information travels easily across age groups, cultures, languages and levels of film knowledge. At the Academy Awards, the film won 11 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director, tying the existing record. Awards transformed commercial success into institutional prestige and strengthened future value across television, home entertainment, education, repertory screenings, and re-releases. Its legacy exceeds revenue. It influenced disaster cinema, digital water effects, large-scale production planning, historical reconstruction, and the marketing of romantic spectacle. It also made the real ship newly relevant to younger audiences and encouraged further documentary interest. Few blockbusters maintain that breadth of relevance so successfully. Long-term value comes from multiple entry points. Some viewers return for romance, some for craft, some for history, and some for nostalgia. This diversity protects the film from one trend. Its legacy remains strong because the emotional core is simple while the production surface offers finance, technology, psychology, and history. The true achievement is harmony. Art gives disaster meaning. Technology gives the imagined ship physical presence. Capital gives the production enough scale to become an event. None could create the same impact alone. The romance teaches that a relationship can change a life. The disaster teaches that prestige cannot cancel risk. The production shows that extraordinary returns require extraordinary coordination, while its financial history shows expensive innovation must connect with basic human emotion. Rose survives by preserving a promise rather than preserving wealth. Her later photographs reveal a life built through action, travel, courage, and self-determination. Jack's greatest contribution was not rescuing her from the ocean. He helped her imagine a future worth surviving for. The film remains a masterclass in turning research into spectacle, spectacle into emotion, and emotion into durable cultural value. Cinema reaches its highest potential when business discipline, technological invention, and human vulnerability serve the same story. If you found this deep dive meaningful, my literature-loving friends, consider liking and subscribing so we can keep decoding the business and beauty of cinema together.